The final qualifying stage for the 2024 CrossFit Games, the semifinals are almost here. Beginning May 16th and running through June 2nd, the individual semifinals will take place in 7 in-person locations around the world. In this segment, we'll focus on some of the men to watch during this stage of the season as the competitive field gets fierce after the Open and quarterfinals. This segment is brought to you by Wild Health, the official precision medicine partner of the CrossFit Games. Visit wildhealth.com to learn more and discover what proactive preventative healthcare can do for you. Being joined now by CrossFit Games sideline reporter and affiliate owner Lauren Smith and CrossFit Games analyst Tommy Marquez. Thank you both for being here. We're going to start on the men's side. And Tommy, we got to start with Jeff Adler, looking to become now the 4th man to win more than one CrossFit Games championship.
And to win, multiple, you have to win the first one. And by doing so, Jeff really kind of completed the circle, going from a volunteer at the CrossFit Games way back in 2016 to eventually becoming a Games athlete and making his way to the top of the podium. And he has just been tremendous at this stage of competition, the semifinals the past 2 seasons, winning both the Atlas Games in 2022 and North America East, setting the stage for a top performance at the Games. And a stat that's probably going to bode well for anybody in Jeff Adler's camp that is hoping for him to at least finish back on the podium. The lowest a return champion has finished in the Open era after their first title was 2nd. So in the very least, he's in a great company, whether it's Ben Smith, Matt Fraser, Rich Froning, Justin Medeiros, to potentially add some more hardware, but it starts at the semifinals, and he has been lights out at this stage.
Lauren, over in Europe, there's a young man by the name of Victor Hoffer. A lot of people have their eyes on him, expecting him to make it to the CrossFit Games for the first time in his career this year. Why is that?
There is so much hype around this guy. He was 13th at last year's European semi-final, his first appearance as an individual. And I think it was that move to the demo team and that incredible workout at semi-finals when he was upside down in his hands that's propelled him into the spotlight. His background in gymnastics, as we all know, has left him very mature, and he's very, very good at dealing with the expectation and all the eyes that come upon him. Now, a big focus has been his movement mechanics, and he had some areas he needed to shore up, like his running and his deadlifts. And the last 3 months or so, that's really just fallen into place. His coach, Steve Fawcett, with hard work's paid off, saying that now his running is completely without any sort of pain. Of course, lining up well for event number 1 at semifinals, and his posterior strength much stronger. So we can expect big things from this 21-year-old going into the season.
Yeah, and one thing that you mentioned, Lauren, about his strength component, I think some people maybe have that heavy snatch event pulling from the ground for him with that back. 265 is the final barbell, which was also the weight that he snatched at semifinals last year during that event. Well, Victor recently just posted on his Instagram him hitting 3 reps in succession at that final barbell. Maybe a little bit of a hint to the rest of the world that, hey, I've been working on my weaknesses, and I'm coming for that game spot.
Back in North America, Dallin Pepper had a breakout year in 2023. He could be poised to put himself on the podium here in 2024.
Yeah, and in doing so, he could make some history on the men's side. So Dallin Pepper, for anyone who may not have been around the sport back in the 20-teens, he is the most decorated teenage athlete of all time, the first teenage Games athlete to win 3 consecutive CrossFit Games titles, or 3 titles in general. And then he made the transition over to individual. What didn't go quite as smoothly, had a couple of missed qualifications, but in making the podium, he could be the first teenage male champion from the Games to make it to the podium, joining the only other teenage athlete, period, to do that in Emma Lawson. And if he actually manages to follow the playbook that Jeff Adler went from last year, going from 5th in 2022 to 1st in 2023, remember Pepper finished 5th at the Games last year as well, he could be the first ever dual champion in both the teenage divisions and the individual competition. That would certainly be something to hang your hat on for an up-and-coming athlete who is going to be a mainstay at the Games for years to come.
Do you know what excites me, Tommy, is that running at the Games is probably a bit of his hole. His 2 worst performances coming on that 5K and Helena. If you've been looking at his Instagram, you know that he's shored that up. He's taken 1 minute 40 off his 5K time in the last 6 months, which is a huge amount, and he's PR'd his single kilometer. Pretty impressive from someone who we should certainly be keeping an eye on.
And Lauren, in Oceania, Bayley Martin is looking to build on his rookie season that saw him finished 12th at the CrossFit Games in 2023.
So we've seen Bayley at the Games for his debut. He came second at last year's Oceania semifinals, but actually he's been at the sharp end over Down Under for a number of years. He's not necessarily on the worldwide radar until this year, but he's placed 8th at Torian in 2021, and he was only 21 years old, and he's never finished lower than 6th at the semi-final level, apart from one last chance qualifier. We've seen him at his peak. He's got a 130 max snatch and 157 clean and jerk, putting him on that radar. And I was chatting to Keith Bellamy, and he was saying that actually he's really been dialed in. There's a hazard that comes with the trade of being a Kiwi, of being a little bit too laid back. But since February, his eyes have been on one prize, and that's a return to the CrossFit Games.
Lauren, Tommy, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate the insight. And tickets to semifinals are on sale now at games.crossfit.com. Whether you want to cheer on your favorite athletes, represent your affiliate, or take advantage of the on-site attractions at each event, do not miss the opportunity to come together in person with the CrossFit community in one of the most exciting stages of the competition season.